Hi guys. So one thing that I always post about, and it's obviously a huge discussion, especially within game development, is salaries. Now, I offer reverse recruitment, so that means that candidates come to me, and I actually do the job hunt for them. I advise them on LinkedIn. I advise them on what they should post, what they should message. There is points where I actually do the whole job for them. But one thing that I always am surprised at is what senior level people are going in with initially regarding salaries. So, I've spoken to a lot of sort of head of production, lead game designers, creative directors, technical directors, chief engineers, that all just go, I need 110. I need 110, 120k, that is it. A lot of them have maybe come from, a startup that they were part of, or they were a founder. But I say to them, look, if I approach a gaming studio, for head of production or a technical director role or something like that, and say they're looking for 110, they will literally say no way, no way, no way, no way. And the reason for this is because a lot of their packages start at 80 but end at 120, especially the AAA studios that are backed by the Embracer Group, Tencent, PlayStation, all that kind of jazz. They have fantastic, amazing salaries. For instance, a AAA studio that I was working with in Amsterdam, I couldn't believe the package, based out the guy, it was a lead online programmer. He was just so needed throughout the industry, but so he could kind of say what salary he wanted, but he wanted me to go in out over 100, and I just could not. I was like, look, let me go in at 80, 90k, because I guarantee, and I know the fact that they may offer more throughout the interview process. I know it's controversial, but you need to have the conversations with people, especially at your kind of level. You need to get into the studio. When you apply, you are a blank piece of paper. They just see that 110k and they will brush past it. They just go, look, I can't, the HR managers or the TAs or the hiring managers just go, I can't go to, I can't get this approved at all. But if you go in 20k less, knowing, especially if you've got a good recruiter that is going to support you throughout, knowing that it will get you a call. Because, the benefit packages, the bonuses, you may have to relocate. The role may change. My advice is, if you're coming from a studio like Epic Games, for instance, or, a big entity that can offer big salaries, go in a little bit less than what you've been on, with the mindset of, look, that's my preferred. Obviously, I'm on that at the moment, but it gets you in the door, and you can have the discussions. If you're working with a recruiter, they will do their best to push and say, what are the bonuses on this role? And then throughout the process, they can be like, look, this is the highest amount that you're going to get. And maybe, most studios for that kind of level of role, they want to pay 85, 90. Technical director, 90 at the absolute most. I know a lot of people think, they want 100k or they should be offering 100k. It's just not. That's not the case. So my advice is go in lower, expect about 10% less than what you're on, but look at the bonuses. Ask about the bonuses. Ask about the benefits. If they pay for travel or relocation, or whether there's a starting bonus. This may actually get you to that point. Companies will talk to you if you kind of meet them in the middle. But that's my advice on high-end salaries.